Now let's talk about the other Dawn, which is Dawn, the secretary,
that was a great
who we're finally getting a little more of a Dawn. We're getting more of a glimpse into her life. I think the show is getting ready for the MLK assassination, which is coming up in 1968.
And we heard again with the smart points.
We heard Bobby's name mentioned too.
Yes.
I mean, obviously, we're getting it's a big year.
Definitely. So it was interesting to see a little bit of her inner life and where she exists among the other secretaries, and feeling the pressure of, well, I have to sort of get along, but at the same time I don't want to get in trouble. But
didn't you love that through her conversation with her friend, you realize, I mean, whether or not you thought this in advance, that she is most definitely not a drone. Like, she's like, they're crying in the bathroom, they're crying in the elevator, everybody's insane.
She's
she gets it.
She's totally perceptive.
Yeah.
And
it's like New Year's Eve when they throw the bottles out every week.
How great was it? And first of all, Joan was not going to fire her. No. She would have fired her then. So Joan didn't need to be told. Like, she figured out who the real bad guy there was. When Joan fired Scarlett, that was awesome. I mean, just, Scarlett, you're fired. Right, boom, like that. And I'll deal with you later.
Yeah.
And then she does. Like, Joan knows she's given her responsibility.
Yeah.
Like Joan, because she loved, Joan must have, even though her poker face betrayed nothing, she must have loved the manner that Dawn came to her in.
So the thing I love about Dawn is what is best about this show and why we watch the show in the first place. It's the same thing about Dawn, to connect all these together, which is that it gives you a sense of that time, which is so different than our time.
Right.
So Dawn has all these, we find out when she talks to her friend, has a personality, has all these things that she thinks that you never hear from her. And so that was what was devastating back then, is that there was a wall, right? And African Americans at the time were ironically colorless, right? Because they weren't allowed to. If you had an opinion, it would count against you in a big way.
I think the sort of the pioneers in any sense, whether you're the first women in the sort of 9-to-5 workplace, or the first African Americans or whatever, you fall into what they call the best little girl in the world syndrome, where you have to represent your minority, and you have to be perfect, and you're because anything you do wrong is going to be judged against all of you. It's a gay thing too, or like there's actually a book called The Best Little Boy in the World, where there are so many gay guys who, when they were young, realizing that they were going to be different, they had to be the best student and the best athlete and the best everything to sort of compensate and be thought of as good as anybody else. They had to be better than everybody else.
Well, that's 100% true, but there's also the other element of it with blacks in this country at that time, which is that you can't cause any offense or harm to white people. Even the slightest offense has devastating consequences. Right. So, like, let's not lose that part of it, which is that that they were scared out of their minds. In this case, it would have been being fired, right? But of course, in other parts of the country, it would have been much worse.